It's August, and leaves late December. He's got a good taste of our weather. Back to Australia, and Cincom has been doing a bunch of work with Seaside to try and get that in support state of the product, build some interesting stuff on top of it, try and make some headway in the broader web development world with that. So Michael's going to talk about that and other stuff. So, thank you, Michael.
It changes actually as the presentation goes on automatically. So, for those of you who haven't done web development recently, the web development world sort of changed in the last 5 years or even less, where the web browser and its development libraries have matured in a significant way, such that we've now established something called Web 2.0, which is a conglomeration of new web technologies and techniques, and more socially aware web development. And one of the things that came out of this was a framework called Ruby on Rails, which put Ruby on the map in a major way. And in many respects, that left some small talk groups going, us too. One person in particular, Andy Brown, a Ruby developer, liked Smalltalk so much, he ported his framework from Ruby to Smalltalk and called it Seaside. So it is a Web 2.0 framework, and the idea was to throw every single rule about web development out as much as possible. Instead of having strong URLs that meant something, you had dynamic URLs that meant something to the server. Instead of hard coding or separating your HTML and writing HTML, you write Smalltalk code. And instead of having separate HTML files and servlets in Smalltalk code, you have the source for the HTML in Smalltalk code next to the code that actually does the actions. So the servlets are in line with works. So what that means, we'll see as we do this demonstration, building this sort of web application, seeing what Seaside can do. As well as that, recently, it's beyond that. So it's completely in the dynamic realm. It's not really possible to make highly optimized, fast throughput applications that use completely static HTML. That's not what Seaside's for. Seaside's for dynamic applications where if it's fast enough, it's fast enough. Turns out most applications feel it's fast enough. I mean, there are very few situations where you actually need to go out of Seaside's regular development environment and do something specific.
On the client or on the server? Do it store itself to the client on there?
No, it actually runs on the server. You push JavaScript to the client and run that JavaScript on the client. And that's been done in a very particular sort of way, using libraries like Scriptaculous or Rootools or things like that. Plotkit is another one. We'll see examples of those as I go through it. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So just recently, management at Cincom decided it would be a really good idea if we took this framework that our customers are using and actually supported it. And that's where this initiative started. As well as that, they decided they wanted to make a new product that was about building web apps quickly, in a nice way, using Seaside, and not really having to be really in-depth with Smalltalk to get the advantages of Smalltalk, Seaside, and all that sort of stuff. So our work in the Seaside team has been about supporting Seaside, getting into a state where we're quite happy to support it, and then also integrating the Glorp database access stuff. I think most people who are here doing Glorp in one fashion or another. And getting that to a supported state as well, and then joining the two together in kind of typical CRUD application sort of fashion that Ruby on Rails does very well. So we're not really at odds with Ruby on Rails. I think if you like Ruby on Rails, you're really going to love this stuff. So it's kind of complementary to the dynamic.
I don't have a sense of how big Ruby on Rails is. I mean, I kind of hear the hype and stuff like that, but I'm thinking maybe I'm not looking at the right cross-section. Like, how big is it? Like, for real, like I've heard about it, like I've heard of Ruby a long, long time by Dave Thomas, and then I remember hearing from Tim O'Reilly when it was like picking up and, ROR, and now it seems to be all over the place, and I'm thinking, who is really like are any of the big websites using it? I don't think so.
I mean, one of the tricky things there is when you say big websites, some of the more recent startups, like Twitter.com, use Ruby on Rails. And it's, by any consideration, ridiculously big now.
Yeah.
And that's, a very interesting thing. I guess one of the things about Ruby on Rails is it gets you up and going very quickly. But the other good side of Ruby on Rails is that it's slow, and the more popular you get, the more performant it becomes.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's got ways to deal with that. But as soon as you get off the rails, which is Ruby on Rails, there are ideas that you follow rail tracks and everything. As soon as you get off the rails in Ruby on Rails, you're sort of left behind in terms of how to do things. So that's not really what Ruby on Rails is.
I say at Small Talk Solutions, there was a great quote. Someone inadvertently. We had Chad Fowler, who was written some Ruby and Rails books. And he described he used to work for GE, and he said then the managers would never have even considered using something like Ruby on Rails. Now, well, they still wouldn't use it, but that's because they're stupid. So it's kind of, I think in the big corporate world, there's not a huge amount of uptake, but we do see it in things like startups, where people want to get started, where getting going quickly is the most important.
Right, so it patronizes all the common things about cloud. It patronizes your database access. It patronizes with an active record pattern so that database tables, columns, map to variables. It patronizes the SSP, XSP, JSP, ASP pattern into a nice template engine that can actually reuse things. So that's where they're coming to. So Ruby on Rails doesn't actually do anything fantastically new. It pulls together all the good ideas into a set of tracks that you can follow very quickly and get things done well. So as soon as you want to get off those tracks, that's when you've got a problem. So Seaside is kind of the opposite problem, where you can do anything you want really, but there are no tracks. Because it doesn't come with a system story, it's one with change files there. And Warp actually fits that space really well. Warp is the start of the fair to say that? Yeah. But on top of Warp, Alan wrote the active record, which is the active record pattern again, and we use that now in our Seaside stuff. So I'll show you that. So getting started, I'm actually in a VisionWorks 7.6 release each year, and this is what it would be like-ish since this comes out. There's a new category in the parcel manager for Seaside web development, and we've populated it with all the common packages that people use in Seaside. And we're going to run through a bunch of these and see what they're about, so you get an idea of what Seaside is capable of and what we're going to do in the future. So getting started with Seaside is actually as simple as saying go to Seaside. For anybody who's actually used Seaside in the past, it's also a fairly big departure from what I'm used to learning. How it's easy to learn. That would be parallel on the Mac OS X, swapping memory. And there we are. So loading Seaside brings up the web browser, and we're actually in the Seaside environment straight away. This is what they call the dispatcher, which is the front page for the development environment in Seaside, which you access to all the programs that are loaded. In this case, we can look at, say, the examples programs, and the quintessential example in Seaside is this counter program. So the counter program is designed to demonstrate what they have in Seaside manufacturing, which is really important in there because people have this thing called backfire. And they can do crazy things like go back in their shopping cart and reorder something on the machine. But you really want to save the state at each page in some sorts of transactions. And you don't really want to have to walk off the page. Seaside does that for you. So you have the ability to jump back various pages and continue as if we were there. One example that I really liked was a dialogue, a kind of workflow dialogue where you ask a color, and then you ask for a name, and it shows you the name of that color, and you could just go back and change the color, the forward, the name is still William, so you don't care about that, but bring you back to where you were by following that thing. Now, if you actually had a transaction of rank drop in different directions, so it asks you if you're male or female, and then asks different questions based on whether you're male or female, that execution part is saying you can go back and change it to the story. And then, of course, you've got the